The WNBA is in a state of total meltdown, and the 2026 season is officially on life support. The league office just dropped a hammer that proves they are more interested in protecting their bank accounts than rewarding the players who built this new era of dominance. We are looking at a calculated and cold-blooded sabotage of the 2026 collective bargaining agreement. The WNBA owners have effectively created an anti-Clark fund designed to cap the earning potential of the very stars who brought them a six-fold increase in media rights. The game tape on these negotiations does not lie, and the contract receipts are finally out for the world to see. The league is currently operating under a status quo obligation because they failed to reach a deal by the January deadline. Now we are sitting in March, and the clock is ticking toward a total work stoppage. The owners are hiding behind a smokescreen of million-dollar salaries while quietly rigging the system to ensure the players never see a real piece of the billion-dollar pie. The 2026 season is tentatively scheduled to tip off on May 8th, but that date is a fantasy unless the league stops trying to rob the locker room. The biggest bombshell in these leaked documents is the proposed rookie scale trap. Under the current offer from the league, the rookie scale for a generational talent like Caitlin Clark is being capped at roughly $539,000. While that sounds like a massive jump from her current contract, it is a strategic lowball. The owners are proposing a team salary cap of only $5.65 million. When you factor in the new $1.13 million supermax for veterans, the math becomes a nightmare for roster depth. The league is intentionally forcing teams into a corner where they can either pay one star or field a competitive team. This is the definition of a toxic front office strategy. By keeping the cap artificially low at $5.6 million, while the players are demanding $9.5 million, the owners are trying to kill the middle class of the league. They want the headlines to talk about the million-dollar max deals, while the actual median salary stays in the basement. The owners are claiming that the union's proposal would result in a $460 million loss over the life of the deal. That is a flat-out lie designed to fearmonger the public. The reality is that the league is sitting on nearly $1 billion in expansion fees from Toronto, Portland, and Golden State. The receipts show that each of these three newest teams is paying a $250 million expansion fee. That is $750 million in cold, hard cash that the owners are refusing to share with the players. When you add in the previous expansion rounds, the total hits $925 million by 2030. The owners are pocketing nearly $1 billion in entry fees, while telling the players there is no money left for salaries. This is not just a disagreement over numbers. This is an organized effort to keep the athletes as employees rather than partners. The locker room has officially turned, and the players are ready for war. The WNBPA is demanding 27.5% of gross revenue, but the league is offering a pathetic 15% of net revenue. The word net is the most dangerous word in sports business. It allows the owners to deduct every single expense, including their own office renovations and travel, before the players get a cent. It's a shell game designed to make the league look broke on paper, while the valuations of teams like the New York Liberty skyrocket to over $400 million. Caitlin Clark and Paige Bueckers are being treated like assets to be managed rather than the engines of the economy. The owners are betting that the players are too scared to strike during the height of the league's popularity, but they underestimated the resolve of the locker room. The players have already authorized a strike vote, and the sentiment is clear. They would rather sit out the 2026 season than sign a deal that keeps them in a financial cage for the next 6 years. The league's latest offer even includes a provision to stop paying for player housing. This is a direct attack on the players' livelihood. For decades, the WNBA has provided housing as a standard benefit because the salaries were too low to survive in high-cost cities like New York or Los Angeles. Now, the owners want to phase that out by 2028. They're giving with one hand and taking with the other. They offer a raise in the base salary, but then force the players to pay $4,000 a month for an apartment in Brooklyn. The greed of the front office is about to cost them everything. While they play games with the CBA, a rival league called Unrivaled is lurking in the shadows. The 3-on-3 league is already paying six-figure salaries for just a few months of work, and they're offering equity stakes to the players. The owners are so focused on winning the 2026 CBA battle that they're losing the long-term war for talent. If Caitlin Clark decides to take a year off from the WNBA to play in a 5-on-5 version of Unrivaled, the WNBA becomes an empty shell overnight. The league is currently threatening the players with a March 10th deadline. They claim that if a deal isn't reached by then, the 2026 schedule will be permanently impacted. This is a classic bully tactic. The owners waited 6 weeks to respond to the union's December proposal, and now they're acting like the players are the ones stalling. The urgency is fake, but the consequences are real. The league is prepared to use replacement players and scabs if a strike happens. They think fans will show up to watch 180 random players just because the jersey says WNBA on the front. But the game tape doesn't lie. The fans are here for the stars, and the owners are trying to starve them out. The revenue-sharing trigger that was finally hit in 2025 resulted in a measly $8 million payout for the entire league. That is a drop in the bucket compared to the $200 million a year they're getting from the new media deal. The owners are treating the players like they should be grateful for scraps, while the billionaire investors are seeing their team values triple in 24 months. The strategy is clear. The owners want to lock the players into a fixed salary structure before the real money from the 2026 media deal kicks in. By refusing to tie the salary cap to gross revenue like the NBA does, the owners are ensuring that they keep 85% of every new dollar that comes into the league. It's a rigged game, and the players are finally refusing to play. The tension in the league office is at an all-time high because the owners know their bluff is being called. The villain in this story is not a single person, but a collective of owners who view the WNBA as a charity project rather than a business. They spent decades complaining about losing money, and now that the money is here, they want it to keep it all. They're weaponizing the CBA to punish the players for being successful. They're terrified of a world where a player has more leverage than the league, and they're doing everything in their power to prevent that from happening. The contract receipts prove that the league's $1.3 million projected max is a total fantasy. To reach that number, a player has to hit every single marketing incentive and revenue trigger, which the league controls. The guaranteed money is much lower, and the owners have a history of moving the goalposts. The players are being asked to bet their careers on triggers that have only been hit once in the history of the league. It's a bad deal, offered by bad actors. The locker room leaders like Nneka Agwamake and Breanna Stewart have seen this movie before. They know that if they sign this deal now, they're selling out the next generation. The anti-Clark fund is real, and it is designed to make sure no player ever becomes bigger than the league itself. The owners want to be the stars, but they don't realize that nobody buys a ticket to watch a billionaire sit in a luxury box. The fallout from this negotiation will be felt for decades. If the 2026 season is canceled, it will be the greatest indeflected wound in the history of professional sports. The momentum from the 2024 and 2025 seasons will evaporate instantly. Sponsors will flee, and fans will feel betrayed. But the blame lies squarely at the feet of the owners who thought they could bully their way to a one-sided deal. They're gambling with the future of the sport just to save a few $1 million on the bottom line. The league is currently in a state of chaos. Free agency is frozen. The expansion drafts for Toronto and Portland are in limbo. The rookie draft is a question mark. The entire infrastructure of the WNBA is paralyzed because the owners won't agree to a fair revenue split. They're holding the game hostage, and the players are the only ones standing up for the integrity of the sport. The game tape shows a league that is booming, but the balance sheet shows a front office that is rotting from the inside out. The owners are banking on the idea that the public will turn on the players for being greedy. They're leaking fake numbers to the press to make it look like the players are asking for the moon. But the math is simple. The NBA players get 50% of the revenue. The WNBA players are asking for 27.5%. The owners are offering 15%. Who is really being greedy in this scenario? The owners are the ones with the billion-dollar valuations and the $750 million in expansion fees sitting in their pockets. The Clark effect was supposed to be the rising tide that lifted all boats. Instead, they're trying to build a dam to keep all the water for themselves. They're sabotaging the most successful period in the history of the league because they can't stand the thought of sharing the wealth. This is not leadership. This is malpractice. The owners have become the ultimate locker room cancer, and their toxicity is threatening to destroy everything the players have worked for. As we approach the March 10th deadline, the reality of a strike is becoming more certain every day. The players are not backing down, and the owners are dug in. The WNBA is about to learn a very expensive lesson about the value of its labor. You can't have a league without the athletes, and you can't have a future without fairness. The owners are the architects of their own downfall, and the collapse of the 2026 season will be their legacy. The final buzzer is approaching, and the score is lopsided. The owners have lost the trust of the players and the respect of the fans. They have proven that they would rather own a failing league that they control than a successful league where they have to share. The cost of this toxic behavior will be the destruction of the WNBA as we know it. When the 2026 season is officially canceled, the owners will have nobody to blame but themselves for the ruins of the empire they chose to burn down. The WNBA owners have made their choice, and they have chosen greed over greatness. They have built an anti-Clark fund to suppress the stars of tomorrow, and in doing so, they have signed the death warrant for the league's momentum. The game tape is clear, and the receipts are in. The 2026 CBA sabotage is the greatest betrayal in the history of women's basketball, and the owners are about to find out exactly how much their toxic behavior is going to cost them. The league office can release all the statements they want, but the players know the truth. The fans know the truth. The billionaire owners are the ones holding back the game. They are the ones hiding the expansion money. They are the ones trying to cut the housing benefits. They are the ones who are willing to kill the season just to keep their margins high. The WNBA is at a breaking point, and the owners are the ones pushing it over the edge. The 2026 season was supposed to be the victory lap for women's basketball. Instead, it has become a funeral march led by the very people who were supposed to protect it. The owners have officially turned the WNBA into a case study in how to ruin a gold mine. They are the villains of this story, and there is no redemption arc coming for them. The cost of their sabotage will be a lost season and a ruined reputation that no amount of marketing can ever fix.